So let's work on our website so that we can use this button to show our register and sign in. So what I've done here is that I've just moved some of my code to the includes folder. So in my bottom, I have some of the codes that were at the bottom, and I have my footer in a file called footer.php, and they're all in includes folder. And all I did here was just to include them. So at the very bottom, just before my body, I'm going to include a script. I'll put it in my JS folder. Let me just call it util.js. Okay, so in my JS folder, I'll create a new file and call it util. I'll just create a const and call it open modal, and I'll say document.query selector is a class of modal open. So if you check navbar, the sign in and register has a class of open, so it's an anchor tag, and the tag has a class of open modal open. So we're going to listen to whenever the user clicks on that. So I'll add an event listener of click, because we want to listen to the clicks. And then second parameter we're going to add is actually a function. So since it's a function, it automatically becomes a callback function, but I'm using arrow functions to do that. So I'll just console log and say open sign in. I'll just save. So to test, I'll just click. So it says open sign in, which is fine. So what we want to do is we want this to change the class of the sign in. So in the login modal, we have a class of hidden here. So we want to remove this so that this becomes visible. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll make a reference to this class, this whole div, using this class of modal. Okay, just to be sure that's the only one that has modal, just run through. Okay, so what I will do is I'll call it modal container. I'll give it a class of modal container. Okay, this way I'm sure that no other div has this class. Yes, so just have just one of that. I'll save. So here I'll say just give a const of, let's say, modal container, and we'll make a reference to that using a query selector. Since it's a class, I put the dots there. Modal container. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll say modal container, then we're going to check the class list, and I'm going to use to go, and what the class I want to change is hidden. So what this will do is it will check to go to this modal container, and it will run through the classes. It finds a class named hidden. Now if hidden is there, it's going to remove it. If it's not there, it's going to add that. So let's see if that works. So when I click on this, let's refresh, so you can see this appears. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make this button work, this close button. So let me just find out what the class is. Modal close. Okay, so I'll add a const, say modal close equal to document.query selector. This time I'll use all, because I'm sure we have two of those. We have one on this sign in, and then when we switch, we have another one for the login. Okay, I'm pretty sure of that. So I'm using query selector all to make reference to all the elements that have the class of modal close. If not, it only make reference to the first one it sees. That wouldn't make much sense. So I'm going to use query selector all, and then I'm going to add an event listener to that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a loop. So I'll just say add click listener. So I'll use a loop. I'll just say when I equal to 0, I less than modal close dot length, and I'll just increment that. So what this will do for us is that since query selector all will return all the elements, the HTML elements that has this class, and then it arranges them in an array. So we can loop through that array and give an event listener specifically to a particular array in the array list. So I'll just say modal close, and I'm going to pass in that number using I. Then I add my event listener. I'll say click, and then I'm going to pass a function. So what I'm going to do is I'll just pass a function that says toggle modal or toggle modal, however you pronounce that. And the reason why I want to do this, because I know this is going to be similar. I'll have to write this code again, this code on line number 8 again. So I could move all of this to a new I can move it to a function. So I can just have a function at the bottom. I say function toggle modal. Now this is going to work in the sense that I'm saying what the function does after I've used it. Let's say on line 13, I wanted to use a function on line 13. For example, we're going in this manner from up to down. And then on line number 13, it calls this toggle modal, but toggle modal has not been created. But JavaScript does what we call function hoisting. So it kind of like looks in the whole script, and then it finds these functions and it kind of like takes them to the top, so that this function, even if it's called before it's being declared, it still gets to run. Okay, so in here I'll just paste this code. So what I'll do here is this same toggle modal. I'll have that here now. So what this means is that when I click on open modal, it fires this function, and the function just says that I should play around with this class of hidden. If it's not there, add it. If it's there, remove it. So let's see, I'm going to refresh. So since this is a function, I don't need to put this parentheses. I'm not passing in anything. I just save. And I'll come back here, refresh. When I click this, it opens. When I click this, it closes. Very good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make this switch. So when we click here to register, it switches this to the register. So head back to my code. So we can use the same method to make that work. So I'll just go to my login, and I see I have register form. So I'll just copy this class, go to my models. Let me just have that nice and tucked away. I'll see forms. In here, I would say register form equal to, actually forgot to say const. I say document.query selector, and that is a class. I put a dot, and let's head back there and check the class for the signing. Okay, so this should be signing, and now register. I just call it sign form. Okay, so this is sign form. I just copy this, save that. Here I'll say const sign form equal to document.query selector. I have that there. So what we want to do is to play around with the hidden class. So we know by default this has the hidden. Okay, so what else I also need is the button itself. We're going to be adding the click listener too. So in the register, or I'll start with the sign in form because that's the one that is visible first. So in the sign in, I have a place that says click here to register. Okay, good. So click here to register. I'll give it a class. I'll give the class of, let's call it switch sign. So switch sign is going to switch to the register. So I'll save that. I can say const switch sign equal to document query selector. I'll paste this, and then const switch register equal to document query selector. I'll put a dot and say switch register. I've not added this class, so just go over to the HTML and add this switch register. So in my login model, I'll head all the way to that of the register form, wherever it says click here to sign in. Okay, here we go. So I'll add that here. So this will switch the register off. Okay, so I'm going to add, let's go down. Okay, I can come here. Okay, let me just take this up here. So now everything that has to do with model is up here. Okay, I didn't move that correctly. Okay, so just say switch sign, add event listener. I want to listen for a click, and then we are going to fire a function here, or just put a callback function, and there we are going to switch off the sign in form. So I'll say classless, I'll say toggle, and then the class I want to toggle is hidden. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to toggle that for the register form. So what this will do is, in the sign in form, since there is no hidden class, this will add it, and for the register form, since there's a hidden class, this will switch it. So if I save and let's see what we have. So I have to refresh, click on sign in, then when I click on click to register, it switches to the register. Then we'll click on this, it goes back. So let's add that for it to go back. And here I will just say switch register.add event listener. We're listening for a click, so just type click, and then we'll pass in a callback function, which in there we just need to do this same thing again. So I just copy, paste this. Now you must have noticed something. We're doing the same thing twice. Okay, we're doing the same thing twice. So since we're doing this twice, it's best that we have this in a function of its own. So I can just create a function and say switch forms, and then in there I just have these two functions. So what I will do is, instead of passing a callback function, I just say switch forms. So looks better, and I'll do the same thing for this other switch. So I'll say switch forms. So this should still work. Let's go sign here. Then we can switch between these two guys. Okay, that's good. So the last thing I'll add for this is for us to be able to use our escape key to close the model. So I'm just gonna say using keyboard to close the model. Okay, so I'll just watch on the document level. I just want to watch for when the key down, and I'll just pass a function. So when the key down it's pressed, I want to watch for something, and on this function to fire. Okay, so I'll check if this event is true, and then I'll also check that if that doesn't go through, check if it's a window event. I'll just create just create a let here and say it's escape key. I'll just set that to false for now. So if in this, I'll put that in quotes. So if in this event here we have, just doing an if. So if the key in event is equal to is escape key is equal to an event, and if the key is the same as escape. Now this is just a default. Escape is of course a key in your keyboard, and if you search probably if you search the Mozilla developer documentation, you should be able to see all about keys. So I want to check if the escape key is equal to escape, or if it bears this other name. Let's say key. So we're checking for when the key is either escape or ESC. So else we're also going to check is the escape key equal to event.keycode, because keys can also be determined by key code. Okay, so if that's out of the way, so we are going to say if, okay, what we want to do now is we want to check when the escape key is pressed and when the modal is open. And when we know that the modal is open, the modal container does not have the hidden class. So I'll say and modal container class list, so it contains hidden. But of course what we want to check is if it doesn't contain hidden. So I'll just put an exclamation mark here to invert this. So if the escape button is pressed and there is no hidden in the modal container, which means that the modal is open. So I'll just toggle modal, just press save. So let's see if that works. So just open the browser, I'll refresh. When I click on this, okay, we have an uncut error left hand side. Okay, so okay, we made a mistake somewhere. I need to put this and put this in. Okay, so I also made the same mistake here. I have to wrap all of this in a bracket. Okay, so when I click on this and press escape, it works. So very good. Now for my next class, we'll start working with Postman, how to create models, and start working in on the back end section of our video. So if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me to keep creating new videos. So see you in the next lesson.